Okay, so I'm going to tell you why I'm convinced with high certainty that Bitcoin is going to hit below 20,000. I'm thinking somewhere in the high $18,000 mark before a big rebound. So what I'm looking at, and I've been telling everyone on my Instagram, $18,000 is my target on Bitcoin. I'm thinking it could hit it within about 2 months or so. And I'm going to explain to you why I've come to that conclusion. So, first of all, looking at the charts, we clearly have somewhat of a double top. You know, we did break the high, but not by much. There was no follow through, and it was a fake out, and we pulled back, and we essentially got a double top at the all-time highs on the weekly, on the monthly chart. There was clear distribution up here, and I was telling my Instagram, and I said this looks like a distribution pattern. There was a fake out, high volume on the fake out, and then you had some of the big banks saying, "Oh, Bitcoin's going to this price," and sometimes I see that as a little bit of a red flag, and I noticed it was all happening right around the all-time high. But the real clue for me, and a real big one, was inflation. And they announced the inflation news, and they said inflation is the highest it's been in 30 years. And Bitcoin went up initially, and I actually thought to myself, and I told my group at the time, I think I'm adding to my short position because I thought it would be a sell the news. So it was a buy the news reaction, like instantly. It went up for a very short period of time, and I was just adding to my short position. I was not concerned. I thought $70 psychological, $70,000 psychological resistance, sell the news reaction, distribution pattern, some of the big banks telling people to buy. I see that as a red flag, a fake out, high volume up here, right around the previous all-time high. So it was a clear resistance area. And there were so many things telling me go short at the top, or at least the recent top, which I personally think is the top. I guess we shall find out in the coming years. Now we're on a clear downtrend right now, and there's no signs of any sort of change in the trend. This was another little fake out up here, little double top, fake out, higher volume at those highs, pull back. We're getting high volume down here, but this is a breakdown. We're breaking this support area, and a lot of money is being pushed into the red now. Everybody who bought at any of these prices over the last, 3, 4, 5 months, they're all in the red. Anybody who bought above 45, 50, they're all in the red. Anybody who bought above 42, they're all in the red. And that's a lot of people. There's a lot of volume above that area. So now it's acting as a resistance area. Clear downtrend on the daily. Clear downtrend on the weekly, lower highs, lower lows. Okay, we're not even oversold on the weekly. Now, a lot of people say, oh, we're oversold on the daily, and we are slightly. Yeah, we're at that 30 RSI mark, but during a breakdown and what I believe is leading up to capitulation and panic, we could get a lot lower RSI. It's low, but we could get a lot lower. We could go to 15. We could go to 10. We got a lot of retail money in there. A lot of people would panic if this keeps going lower, and the RSI can get very oversold as it breaks these support levels. We got a clear sell the news reaction to me because they announced that they were going to print all this money back in March 2020. That's when Bitcoin started going up because the anticipation was they're going to cause inflation. And Bitcoin is supposed to be an inflation hedge. So money started going into Bitcoin. And it literally topped the day that they announced the highest inflation in 30 years. So to me, it's a very clear sell the news event. And if it's not going up when inflation is going up, does that not defeat the whole purpose of it? Is it not supposed to protect you from inflation, but it's actually gone down since they announced the highest increase in inflation ever? So, I think its purpose is being questioned over here. It's a sell the news. And then you have other bad news, the Fed tapering, the Fed looking to tighten and reduce their bond holdings, interest rates going up. You know, Omicron and COVID and all this kind of stuff there too. Although I don't really think that's the reason for this decline, it might add to it. So it's all of these things combined together. Fake out above the highs, double top, distribution up here, higher volume up here, a lot of money in the red, clear downtrend on the daily, on the weekly, and a lot of weakness. And we're not even oversold on the weekly or the monthly time frame. We got a bearish divergence on the monthly RSI. We're getting a bearish MACD cross on the monthly. That would be the first time since pre-2020, since a long time ago. We're starting to get a bearish MACD cross on the longer term time frame. Not a good sign. So we're cooled off our RSI on every level except the daily is just slightly in the oversold territory. But again, the chart is very weak. We're looking at a breakdown. Previous support is becoming resistance. We're just riding the red line lower on the daily. Looks like we're getting another little bear flag over here right below the previous support level. And now my targets, you know, I'm looking at this lower weekly Bollinger Band 37.7. You know, that would be one of my initial targets. I'm looking at the 35.5 on the monthly, middle monthly Bollinger Band. But ultimately, I'm looking at 18K because that's where our 50-month moving average is. That's where our 2017 high is around. So we never retested this high. There's a lot of space to the upside without having formed a support at the previous resistance level. There's no support after the break of 30K area. And if we do break that area, which I believe that's where we're headed, because of a sell the news, because of all the bad news, because of how heavy and strong the momentum is to the downside, because how much money is trapped in the red, because of tapering, because of Omicron, so many reasons. I think we're going to retest that high from 2017. That's where I think we're going to get a big bounce. That's the 50-month moving average as well. That's the 200-week moving average area as well. I think it's going to happen within 1, 2, 3 to 4 or 5 weekly candles or so. I'm thinking next month or two we can hit that $19,000 mark. And I think that's where it's going to do a strong bounce and bounce up to 29 to as high as 36K or so. I'd look for a bounce. It could be a bounce right back up to the middle weekly Bollinger Band around the 36K area. You know, I'm very bearish crypto. I've said I believe they're all going to go to zero, but I doubt it's going to happen instantly. I think it's possible it happens instantly, but I doubt it does. So I think they'll keep it alive just because there's so much money to be made in both directions other than making it just go to zero. So they'll keep it alive, making money on all the fees and the ups and the downs and whatnot. But also, a key part of my theory as well is the bearish head and shoulders. It looks clearly like a bearish head and shoulders on the weekly over here. If you take the top and you go to around this level, to around where the shoulder would be around, give or take, okay? And we duplicate this. We clone it, and we put it under the breakdown level. It puts us right around the 18K mark. And usually the breakdown, the length of the breakdown is about the length of the head on a bearish head and shoulders. So that's what we're looking. And that's a big target, puts us also around that 18K mark. So now I have multiple targets saying 18K. 18K is the measured length of the bearish head and shoulders. 18K is the 200-week moving average. 18K is the 50-month moving average. And also, combine all that with all the bad news, I think we're going to get mass panic. And just think of it psychologically. And I know the fear and greed index is saying, there's a lot of fear right now in the market. It's time to buy. I don't think that's a reliable indicator if you ask me personally. And I don't think there's really capitulation yet. I think there's fear, but not capitulation. And capitulation is when bulls just give in. They give up and they sell their holdings and they panic sell. A lot of people right now, they're not panic selling yet. A lot of people, they're thinking this is an opportunity to buy more instead. and they're just getting deeper in the red, or you're buying the dip and it's dipping further. And I think it's going to hit the point where of absolute panic, and I think absolute panic is below 20K. I don't think below 30K is going to cause the absolute panic. I think below 20K, just psychologically thinking, I think 20K is the level of absolute panic. And that's where I think you're going to see a huge volume spike and then a swift reversal with a 50 to 100% gain from that level. That's my take. I'm looking far ahead, obviously, on the chart. I'm thinking way out. This is all about strategy. So I'm planning to short it to down there unless I see signs that tell me otherwise. I buy and sell my short position. I go in and I go out, take some profits, reload higher. I'm always playing the game a bit, but right now I'm keeping a core short position where, I'm just holding on to it, and then I'm playing with money on top of it. I'm using puts. I'm using inverse ETFs, BITI. I'm using the Forex market to short Bitcoin. And a lot of people are so scared to do it. I'm not scared to short Bitcoin. I think this thing is coming down. It doesn't scare me in one bit. I'm not even the slightest phased on a bounce. I'm just thinking I gotta load even up more shorts on every bounce. This thing is weak. I don't see any signs of a reversal. Bulls look very weak right here. And I think we're leading to the point of absolute panic, and that's below 18K. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm looking for. That's my thesis, and I've showed you several things on the chart as well. The bearish MACD cross on the monthly, the bearish divergence on the RSI on the monthly middle Bollinger Band, the 50-month moving average, the previous support, the previous resistance that should act as a support, the lack of a support that was developed here, no consolidation down here. The fake out above the highs, the essential double top, the weekly downtrend, the daily downtrend, all the bad news. What reason is there to buy Bitcoin right now? If it's going down when high inflation was announced, if all the good news is out, if Visa already jumped on board, if PayPal already jumped on board, if they already changed the arena, the Staples Center to crypto.com, if they've already put it on the stock market, at least in terms of a futures ETF, and so many other things, all the good news has come. What else is left? What good news is left right now? I think the spot ETF, people are waiting on that. I think we're going to drop so low, and then they're going to announce and approve the spot ETF after, and that's going to cause a big squeeze. That's what I'm thinking. I'm looking way ahead. This is like really thinking ahead, and it may or may not happen, but I think it will. I'm quite convinced. But either way, I don't think it's a good investment, but I might be buying the dip. I might buy it at 18, 19K for a nice flip. Take all these guys' Bitcoins when they panic. Beautiful. And then I'll sell it back to them for 36K or 35 or somewhere around there. So that's what I'm thinking. Play the game. It's all about strategy. And just, clearly the Bulls are losing right now. So the Bears have nothing to worry about. Bears are deep in the money. I'm deep in the money. I called this right at the very top. You think I'm worried if it rebounds to 45K? No, I shorted at 68K. I'm not worried. It can bounce to 44, 45, and I'm looking to add to my short. Play the game. Shorts, got this. Stay strong. Be the bear. A lot of retail is in this. It's clearly a big bubble, in my opinion. A lot of people don't think so, and they tell me, I'm buying all the way down. You're a clown. I get all these kinds of messages, really. And you know what? I am completely unfazed because I'm winning. Who's winning? Me. They're not winning. The thing's dropped almost $30,000 US since I started shorting it and since I called the top. You think I'm going to worry? No. So I'm fine. Things look good for bears. I wouldn't be concerned. This looks like another daily bear flag that we're getting over here, riding below the red line. Heavy weakness. We have lower volume than the past, which shows a lack of interest. Look at all the volume down here. And the volume is just steadily dropping off, if you notice, which shows a lack of interest. Interest is dying down. People don't care as much right now. People want their money. And people are tired of this volatility 24 hours a day, blood boiling to try and make a bit of money. And the thing is barely up. You look in the last year, it went from 32K to 42K now? So it's gone up, 25, 30% in a year. Okay, that's not a big gain. The S&P 500 did a better gain than that if you go 1 year back, or the Nasdaq. And this, you had to crap your pants 24 hours a day to try and make that percent. It doesn't make sense. Anyways, doesn't look good to me. Not something I would be buying right now. I will wait for absolute panic. I want people to be completely panicking. I want to see a massive volume spike. I want to see 18K. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm thinking. Thanks for watching, guys.